Morning, friends. Matt here with my first of the 2025 New Year's videos. I'm still on Christmas vacation. Don't start work again till Monday. So I'm definitely going to do this one. Might even squeeze in one more before Monday. We'll see. I'm going to do Elvis Costello in the 70s and 80s. Actually, I'm going to go to Mighty Like a Rose. So from 77 to 91 is what the years in question will be for this little show. I'm going to start many years ago when Rhino disc, did the Costello catalog. I bought this little box set called First 2.5, or just 2.5 years. And then when Rhino did all the double disc CDs, I like those better. So I just swapped out the Rhino discs for the Rhino disc, but I kept the box set. Comes with a little booklet, and then I kept the Live at the Elma combo. So even though I'm opening up the Rhino disc box, I'm going to be showing you the Rhino discs. All right. Okay, yeah, these Rhino discs are all good. They're double CDs. You get the whole album on the first disc, and then you get a multitude of bonus tracks on the second disc. Elvis was very prolific for the longest time, recording many other songs and releasing them, that weren't on the albums. Standalone 45s, B-sides, EPs, for songs that would go on, various artist compilations, soundtracks. I mean, the list goes on and on. So anyway, My Name is True, 1977, one of the great albums of that year. Now, folks, 1977 was as good a year for albums, especially in the punk, post-punk world, as 1967 was in the, psychedelic and classic rock world. Just 10 years had gone by, and it was just a different scene, all right? So an album like this means just as much to me as, probably most of the great albums from 1967, all right? So My Name is True, love this record. He does, the attractions weren't in place yet. He did this album with a band called Clover, which was, a Bay Area band. If you've seen my MC5 poster I have in my bar, 20 feet away, but you can't see it in the camera, Clover is on that poster. Right, so and that poster is from 68, 69. That shows you how long the band had been around. Later on, they became Huey Lewis's backing band, The News. Anyways, that's who he has playing with him on this record. Let's see what's on here. Welcome to the Working Week, Miracle Man, No Dancing, Blame It on Kane, Allison, very famous song at the time, Sneaky Feelings, Angels Want to Wear My Red Shoes. That's a classic Elvis song. Less Than Zero, ditto. Mystery Dance, Pay It Back, I'm Not Angry, Waiting for the End of the World, and Watching the Detectives. This is such a good album that I don't know if it's my favorite Elvis Costello record because he made so many classics, but this is almost like his freewheeling Bob Dylan in that I'm not sure if he ever came up with a better selection of songs than he did for this record. Virtually everything I named is outstanding, if not a classic. And then the bonus disc, let's see. I'm just going to tell you what I think is Radio Sweetheart, which was a country song. Stranger in the House, same thing. And the Burt Bacharach song, I just don't know what to do with myself, a live version. And that's all I'm going to mention about songs that are appearing here for the first time. So this is a classic record. Really, guys, in my mind, as good as Nevermind the Bollocks, The Clash, Rumors, Marquee Moon, I'm thinking about other classic albums from 1977, Steely Dan's Asia, so on and so forth. My Name is True is up there with, to me, any of them. All right. 1978, this year's model. He's got the attractions on board. He's got that, Farfisa organ. This is Elvis the way we want to hear him. And many people think that this is his best album. You really can't see that with the glare, can you? you know, I don't really have a horse in that race. I'm not sure if I have a favorite Elvis Costello album. I do like the way that this album sounds, you know, with the attractions more than Miami is True. Are the songs better? I'm going to say no, but they're both 5-star classic albums. Listen to this. No Action, This Year's Girl, The Beat, Pump It Up, Love It, Little Triggers, You Belong to Me, Hand in Hand, I Don't Want to Go to Chelsea. What a classic that is. Lip Service, Living in Paradise, Lipstick Vogue, Night Rally, and Radio. Did you hear a mediocre song there? You know? And the bonus tracks, Big Tears, I think Mick Jones from the Clash is on there. Crawling to the USA is great. Running Out of Angels, that's a demo. And that's all I'm going to read. All right, I mean, I can't read you every single song on every single CD, but he was so good at this time. These albums are so outstanding. I do feel the need to go over all the songs on the LPs. So this could be the best album of 1978. I mean, again, I'm just shooting off the top of my head here. I mean, what else? The Rolling Stones, Some Girls, Bruce's Darkness on the Edge of Town. You know, I mean, it actually almost can't be beat. He does it again in 79, Armed Forces. This is the American cover. That was the UK cover. When I was first getting into Costello, high school in the early 80s, this was my favorite one. So again, I'm gonna read you every single song. Accidents Will Happen. God, I love it. Senior Service, Oliver's Army with the ABBA type piano. Big Boys, Green Shirt, Party Girl, Goon Squad. I get that song stuck in my head sometimes. Busybody, Sunday's Best, Moods for Moderns, Chemistry Class, Two Little Hitlers, and then the Nick Lowe cover, What's So Funny About Peace of Understanding. That's another totally classic song. Tiny Steps, this is the bonus disc now. Talk in the Dark, Clean Money, that was a good one. Wednesday Week, I love how he sings My Funny Valentine. That's it. Most of the other songs on the bonus disc are just stuff that we already know. So another 5-star classic. Is it as, in terms of longevity, as good as London Calling from that year? I don't know. But what else came out in 79? The Wall, Squeezing Out Sparks. I mean, this is for sure in the top 5, top 3 probably. It's another totally... Not that many people were better than Elvis Costello in these years. And then to round out the box set here, this is live at the Elmo Combo. This is the only disc I kept of the Rhino discs that were in here. It's a great little, live. Oh, you can see that. It's a great little live album. Okay, Costello never really released a live album during his glory years. So, anyways. Elvis Costello, little box set. Okay, I'm going to move on to just the regular CDs now. We're into 1980. Get Happy. Yes, folks, another classic. 20 songs. There was some talk at the time of that affecting the sound quality of the vinyl, but, on CD it doesn't make a difference. I'm not going to read you every single song because, again, it's 20 cuts, but it's another 5-star classic album. They say that there's a bit more of a R&B kind of Stax Volt vibe here. Okay, I mean, they do the I Can't Stand Up for Falling Down song, which was Sam and Dave, I believe. But to me, it just sounds like another classic new wave, that's what we called it at the time, Elvis and the Attractions album. Every song is good. I mean, what's on the bonus disc? Oh, that's a lot for me to read. I'm not going to read it. But anyways, I'm going to get through 82, and then I'm going to tell you about my theory about him and how good his albums were from 77 to 82 and how no one was really better. All right? So wait for that. Get Happy, 1980. Look at the how many tracks are on the bonus disc. Also in 1980, back when we were all into vinyl, was the Taking Liberties album of, B-sides and stuff that did not appear on the albums. I'm fairly sure, I'm not 100% sure, that if you own all the double disc Rhino CDs that I've just showed you, that you have all these songs. but I'm not positive because I just, don't feel like researching it. Again, guys, I like to wing these shows where I just kind of shoot from the hip and I don't research anything. But, just to show you this is what it looks like. I had the vinyl, when I was a kid. Kept this, whatever, CD for a while. All right, 1981. He does Almost Blue, which is his album of country covers. I remember that same year Joe Jackson did Jump and Jive, which was his album of jazz covers. I'm not, this is fine. I mean, this is just a little divergent thing that he did at the time. I'm not going to say he does any of these songs better than the original versions. I love classic country music, so does Elvis. But I'm sure it was a surprise for his, fans at the time that he was into this stuff, because I can't think of too many other English, whatever you want to call it, post-punk new wave artists who were into country music like this. If you like the album, again, the double disc Rhino is the way to go. All right, he does he does lots of classic songs I hear. He does Graham Parsons, which at the time, I don't know how familiar I was with Graham Parsons. So, yeah, this kind of turned me on to a few of these songs, but I'm not sure if I like his versions better now that I know the originals. In much the same way as British invasion era bands covering African American music. They do some really good versions of those songs, but are they better than the originals? That's when it becomes dicey, to make these proclamations. Oh, I see Psycho's on here. Psycho is, I can't remember the original country artist, but that's in Dave Marsh's 1001 Greatest Rock and Soul singles. Psycho wasn't on the album. It's on the bonus disc, but it's on this little set. Okay, if you weren't totally into Almost Blue, salvaging the year in 1981 was Trust. Now, Trust seems to be the redheaded stepchild of his classic 77 to 82 era. I'll admit it might not be as impressive as the surrounding albums, but I think, yes, it's still a classic, and I'll give you my reasoning. The Attractions are playing really well on this album, and I will posit that 1981 wasn't the greatest year album-wise for post-punk music in the first place. Not as great as 78, 79, 80. And I would still put this in my top 5 LP releases for 1981. So I love Trust. I mean, I don't, since I didn't go over the songs and get happy, but since I'm going to big this album up, I love Clubland. Lover's Walk is good. You'll Never Be a Man. Going Down, Watch Your Step, New Lace Sleeves. From Whisper to a Scream, he sings that with the guy from Scream. White Knuckles. He did write songs about men hitting women a bit too much. There were songs like that on Get Happy too. But whatever, Elvis, that's what you chose to write about. I don't know if there's any stories about Elvis himself hitting women. I hope not. Anyways, Trust, great LP. And then, if Trust disappointed anyone, he comes back with a masterpiece in 1982, Imperial Bedroom. I just synced this with a friend of mine. Well, that was a couple months ago, but every song is great. The production is really outstanding on here. I want to say this is one of Robert Downey Jr.'s favorite albums, because I saw a video clip of him once extolling the virtues of this record. Double disc set, I mean, as all of these are. This is an old AU 20 disc that I have. I don't know if the sound quality is any better on this than it is on the Rhino, but just to show you that I got it. So, okay, I'm gonna stop now and pause for a second. I think in terms of consistency, from the years 77 to 82, nobody was more consistent than Elvis Costello. Those are also the great years of The Clash. But I like this year's model more than I like Give 'Em Enough Rope, and I love Give 'Em Enough Rope. You know, I like Get Happy more than I like Sandinista. And again, I love Sandinista. I'm gonna do a Clash video too. You know, I just need to get around to everything. And I definitely also like Imperial Bedroom more than Combat Rock, and Combat Rock is a great album. I just feel that Costello beats the Clash most of those years. All right? And the Clash didn't do an album in 1981. So when Elvis had Trust, he was so prolific at this time with his LPs and his singles and stuff that, yeah, I don't think there was anyone better. I mean, the best you can say is maybe some people were as good as Elvis during each of those years, but for all of those years combined, not to my knowledge. Okay, 83, Punch the Clock, I'm going to say, is his first merely good album. I don't consider this to be a classic, though I think it's got some classic songs on here. Again, I mean, I know I'm saying this with every disc that I'm showing you. These Rhino discs are the way to go. If you're not going to collect Elvis on vinyl, if you're a CD guy like me, this is the way to go. It just gives you so, I mean, look at all those bonus tracks versus just the CDs that are on, the songs that are on the first disc, which comprise the album, right? So much stuff. This has his only top 40 hit. I love Let Them All Talk. Yeah, Every Day I Write the Book. And then his version of Shipbuilding, which people don't like as much as Robert Wyatt's, but it's a solid album. It's just not as great or classic even as the preceding ones, but I like it. Punch the Clock is a solid record. Okay, now, I think even in the liner notes to this CD, Elvis says, hey, welcome to the worst album by Elvis Costello and the Attractions. Yeah, okay, it is. In the 80s, this was his way. Keep in mind, guys, by this point, he made an album every year, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82. This was his 8th year in a row, not to mention all the other songs he had been recording and releasing. He was bound to, run into the wall at some point. It's not terrible. When I did my Cure video, the top, right? The top is 84. I said that was the weakest Cure album of the 80s. I also mentioned Big Express by XTC being the weakest XTC album of the 80s. This is the weakest Elvis Costello album of the 80s. Is it worse than anything he's ever done since? Well, I wouldn't know because I don't have every single Elvis Costello record. But it's not bad. I would never reach for this and play it when there's so many better Elvis albums. And again, look at all the bonus tracks you get. Right? The album, the bonus tracks. So, I mean, I'm going to say, if you're going to get every other one that I'm going to show you today, you may as well get this one too. All right? Goodbye Cruel World, 1984. I think he wisely takes off 1985. Not that he's not working, but he doesn't release an album in 1985. But he comes back to make up for it with 2 albums in 1986. Now, King of America. Here's the AU 20 disc, just like I showed you the one for Imperial Bedroom. At the time that this and Blood and Chocolate came out, this was the more better reviewed, I guess you could say. He's working with some of Elvis Presley's musicians on here. It's another great album. This is, this not being the Rhino disc, it doesn't have a whole nother disc, but it does have extra songs here. This is more of like his singer-songwriter album. There's some acoustic textures on here. He's not playing with the Attractions, but he is on Blood and Chocolate. I do tend to see these albums as 2 sides of the same coin, even though I don't know why, because they don't sound the same. At the time, I liked Blood and Chocolate more. I don't know whether I still feel that way now. Maybe the songs are better on here, but I like how he sounds with the Attractions. This is the Rhino disc, so it's, you know, again, it's two. I always remember Tokyo Storm Warning, but that's like his Bob Dylan song, which is verse after verse. But I love the song Blood and Chocolate. Hope You're Happy Now, Uncomplicated. Well, I shouldn't go into the songs because I didn't go into the songs on this one. But many people will tell you this was his last really classic year as an album artist for a while, because he made other great albums after this. But I'm not as crazy about Spike as I am both of these records. So, but before we get to Spike, Out of Our Idiot was another kind of taking liberties type of, odds and sods kind of record, where it's not an album, it's just a collection of things he had released in the 80s. Again, I think if you own all of the, here you can see the songs. I think if you own all of the double disc Rhino sets that I showed you, I would assume you have all this, but I don't know. I don't know for a fact. It's good to keep a copy on hand if you don't get all those songs and those other discs. So plenty of good stuff on here, but not as essential as an album. Baby It's You, the Shirelles number, guest star Niccolo, From Head to Toe. That's the Smokey Robinson and the Miracles number, right? Anyways, Black Sails in the Sunset. All right, okay. In '89, he came back with Spike. He hadn't done an album in 3 years by this point. At the time, I really liked Spike. '89 was a year for lots of older artists making like comeback records. Like, Dylan did Oh Mercy, and Neil Young did New York, and McCartney did Flowers in the Dirt, and Bonnie Raitt had a record out, and so on and so forth. Lou Reed, did I say Lou Reed had New York? I can't remember. At the time, I lumped Spike in with that. Now, upon, having the album now for decades, I don't think it's as good as I thought at the time. Still good songs on here. I think about a third of this is probably prime Costello. But don't rate it alongside King of America and Blood and Chocolate. All right? But at the time, I liked it. Okay? And I'm going to end... 22. Not bad with time. With My Like the Rose, this came out in 1991. I forgot to mention in '89 when he had worked with Paul McCartney in Flowers on the Dirt on a few tracks, and then Veronica was his cut, and there's still this I should have researched. Double disc. There's still a song on here from the McCartney sessions. Well, yeah, I'm not gonna remember it. So Like Candy? I don't remember it. But anyways, or it's not from the McCartney sessions because I don't think McCartney is on that song, but he re-recorded it, Elvis. All right. So I'm gonna leave with My Like the Rose, a good album. Again, not one of his best, but solid. Because I don't have everything after that. I got a bunch of Elvis Costello albums, or CDs rather, after My Like the Rose, but not every one. So I've got to stop now. So what do you do for the rest? I mean, I like Brutal Youth. The one with Cruel in the title. The one he made with Burt Bacharach is good. Delivery Man. I mean, he made other good albums, but I think his glory years were the 70s and the 80s. So, what can I tell you about Elvis that I haven't already said? I've already told you how I hold him in high regard. I had a girlfriend once that thanked me later on for turning her on to Elvis Costello. So, Susan, if you're watching, you're welcome. The only time I ever saw him live in the 80s was not with the Attractions. It was in the late 80s, and it was... Niccolo opened for him. I forget who was playing with Elvis in terms of his backing band. It was that tour where he spun the big wheel, and, that tells you what song he was going to play, whatever it landed on. It was good, you know. But I'm surprised. Yeah, I didn't see him more often than that. I think Elvis, he's one of those guys. I mentioned Dylan again, where I think Elvis put a lot of concern into the words. Sometimes the verses can be too long, but what Elvis had, he paid more attention, at least more than Dylan did, to making catchy songs, having sing-along choruses. You know, I loved his sound, the Attractions sound. I actually read a book on Bruce Lee, you know, the martial artist, written by the bass player, and I'm tripping right now because I can't think of the guy's name. The bass player, Pete something, or maybe not. I probably should have even brought that up because someone's gonna say, "You idiot! His name is." I'm gonna go, "Oh, of course." Anyways, so he's still around. He still makes music. He still tours. I think, you know, he's married to that jazz pianist, and he's one of the good guys. He's very eclectic in what he likes. You know, if you ever read his suggestions for best albums or things he likes, believe me, it's not just, you know, punk or post-punk or new wave, or, you know, his taste is way more eclectic than that. He never thought of himself as a punk anyway. So, all right, Elvis Costello, I think the third maybe of my 80s new wave shows. The Cure. Oh, I was thinking about Black Flag. No, they're a punk band. There will be more, because during that time, from the mid to late 80s, that's all I listened to. So Matt, signing off. Happy New Year.